with Haunted Holler Miniatures here, and I'm here to paint some models and talk to people about RPG stuff, world politics, and everything else going on in the world. Um, I've been gone for 2 weeks. How's it make you feel, Dale, that I'm actually back?
Well, I'm happy to be back too, man. It's been 3 weeks for me,
Oh,
so
I know
yeah.
you
No,
missed
I
out
am
on
glad
the.
that you're back because that means that the world has returned back to a stable orbit around the sun,
Uh,
not
I
plunging
don't know how
into
stable
another.
stable it is here, man. It's just been crazy. I got hit the day that you missed when I did the interview. I got rear-ended, and so I came back,
Yeah,
did the interview. I felt fine for a day, and then I started feeling stiff back, achy back. My back was popping every time I moved, and all these other wonderful, glorious things. And then finally, a week later, I couldn't handle it anymore, and I told my wife, I said, I'm going to the doctor. So I had to go to the ER because in America, nobody will see you after an accident except for the emergency room. And so, yeah, so I had to go to the emergency room and have my back looked at. And they said, what's going on is my back is so irritated, right? So
yeah,
irritated that the muscles are swollen, and as my
yeah,
ligaments move over my muscles, they're raking over my muscles and popping. So it's like
yeah,
strumming a dang guitar.
yeah.
It's pissed me
And that
off.
doesn't help them get unswollen up and stuff.
No, no, no. So they gave me a really crappy medication that didn't work, and
Awesome.
I'm feeling better today though. But yeah, we're doing pretty good here. I'm trying to make sure we got a good. The camera looks good. My hands are in the way here. Let's see here. Where we at?
Well, I certainly feel for you with the back thing. You may recall, or I may not have even told you, when I was 25, I ruptured, herniated a disc in my back and had to have surgery. And they opened me up like a side of beef to get at that back, stitched me up with a piece of wire,
Yeah.
and 10 days later began the whole trick of how do you walk without having stabbing pain for the rest of your life?
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that sort of plagued me ever since. So I
That's
can totally sympathize with
mm,
you on the sort of pain that you're probably feeling now.
that is the suck. Yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that, bud.
It's all right, man. It's I went through my little period of going. I was never a big athlete, but I was always a pretty active guy,
Yeah,
and I've learned to adapt my life, and as a result, I'm carrying 50 or 60 pounds more than I would like to,
yeah.
because whenever you try to get purposefully active to quote unquote get in shape, you almost always push it further than your poor meager back can handle. So I've learned to deal with that. It's just a fact of life.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
But
so 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 I never lost any big part of my life because of it. But yeah, it has been an eternal pain in the back. Literally,
yeah,
it's crazy.
it's been nuts, man. It's been nuts. It's just yeah. I got a bottle of wild turkey 101 upstairs, and hopefully in the next day or two I'll be able to crack it open. Actually, I bought it for Saturday night's game, at Chuck's house, and then
Yeah.
I brought it, and everybody else drank a little bit out of it, and I just upstairs. I'm just like, I don't want to drink. I don't drink often. I might have a drink once a week or something like that. But I really wanted some wild turkey the other day, and I couldn't have it because it was my turn to bring the bottle. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Those little rituals that you missed. It's not so much the booze; it's the ritual that goes with it.
I know. Looks like we got our man over Imperial Hobby Paints, Tyler, on stream tonight. So
Oh,
we're
excellent.
we're going to continue our beginner paint set series, and this week I was originally going to do Reaper this week, but I decided I'm going to go ahead and do Army Painter and knock them out of the way, and switch over to Reaper next week because we're going to do a giveaway with Reaper. They sent extra paint to give away as well. So we'll have to promote that a little bit next week as well. But so the colors that I've laid out in front of myself right now is the basic colors that come in the Army Painter starter set. Okay, this is you get these. Last time I checked on prices, a little bit about $25.
Hmm.
And so, but these are all the colors, and I've had some of these paints for a couple years now. I've been using these paints for a while. They send me these starter sets whenever I have conventions to go to. I 100%. I'm gonna let y'all know that I do get a sponsorship from Army Painter, not for the show, not for the show at all. Okay, I am still looking for a paint sponsor for the show, They sponsor me at conventions to teach the Army painter method. That's it. Okay. Um, and so I'm what's considered an Army painter ambassador. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much it. Now, the only thing I don't have with me is one of their brushes that come in the set. I do have the Wargamer Regiment brush. This brush actually comes in the um, big set that they have, the mega box of paints. And this is a Kolinsky Sable brush. So, and as you notice, it's got a really good tip on it because of the fact that it's got soap in it, because you know how I store my brushes. So I decided I'm going to use the Army Painter. I do kind of officially want to switch over to these brushes because when I get used to it, my hands like these triangle brushes better. Okay, but I have to build up back up to because my hand will cramp until I really get used to it. So I'm gonna knock the soap out of it real quick here in my water pot. Now the model tonight that we are painting, I'm trying to get a lot of this out of the way, is it looks like some sort of demon, and I actually this kind of looks to be more of, gosh, what is that demon? It's blue skin, it's Chinese or actually Japanese. They sent a model of it. Came in. What set was that? It came in the Rising Sun box set, and I painted him. He's pretty good. So she kind of looks like him in the face, and also her gourd kind of makes me think of Asian a little bit here. But her club handle does, but the end of it doesn't look Asian at all. So I'm trying to figure out what color we're going to paint this tonight. So I'll let you know what I've done is I've primed it, and I did hit it with the airbrush to prime it, and it's only because I have airbrush primer. I used the Mecha primer from Vallejo, and then I did do a quick spray of the Barbarian Flesh Tone here, um, and that's the color I completely coated her with, and that's only because I like doing flesh tones as a primary base color to start my palette out with because it's a good neutral color. It's browns and it can handle browns and reds and everything straight off the bat. So I'm trying to figure out what we're going to paint her. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more if I can. There we go. All right, but okay, so here I'm going to go over the colors real quick. So first we've got matte white. Of course, that's your white that you get. I'm going to move that over here. We got a matte black. So that's your black. Their black, I believe, is a brown black. I have to go back and check. It's been a while since I actually used their paints on the show. Of course, we've got the Barbarian Flesh Tone. Comes with green skin. That's the green you get. Let's see here. Then we got Ultramarine Blue. I might actually have to grab another one of there. If you can see the little dots right there is where I used to have BBs in here and they rusted. And so it didn't really affect the colors at all because the rust color stayed towards the bottom anyway. You can see that in the blue and the yellow. So the brown is leather brown. Then we've got demonic yellow, okay, and then pure red, and they're metallic right here. That comes with it. It's called plate mail metal. And then we have their official wonderful. This is their wash called Strong Tone, but they make a dip called Strong Tone as well that they're really known for. So this we're gonna be playing with this a little bit tonight. I might not use it as intended, but yeah. So let's start painting here. So how's it been going, Dale? How you been doing?
Oh, listen, that's just the exact wrong question to be asked. I'm in the middle of a rough couple of weeks where every place I've been and everyone I've talked to, it almost seems like I was purposefully sticking my foot in my mouth, just for some sort of bizarre effect. So I'm a little chat shy tonight, really.
Don't be that way. I'm gonna
Not
paint.
all bad though. Not all bad. On Monday, I got to play a cool little game by a fellow by the name of Mike Lafferty. He's going to be doing a Kickstarter for it soon called Pew Pew Bounty Hunters.
Oh, all right.
So they play that for an hour every Monday at lunchtime. It's on the old school D&D channel with Walt Robillard.
Okay.
And they're a fun, fast-paced game. Not a lot of rules. Really cinematic, over the top action kind of thing. Good for a lot of laughs, a nice beer and pretzel game. And they do it over a lunch hour on
Right.
Mondays, and it's a great 1 hour adventure every time.
So a lot of people probably don't know what a pretzel game is, and I know what it is because I play a lot of board games, and I'll explain it real quick. A beer and pretzel game is a game that can be played in around an hour over beer and pretzels. So sorry, I didn't mean to
as
steal
as a
your.
yeah as opposed to your standard RPG
Yeah.
where you get a couple hundred pages worth of rule book, or even if you're of the age that I am, you'll remember things like old Avalon Hill military games, or even better, the SPI games where you got a flat pack box with about 250 half-inch square cardboard chits
Yep.
representing things like individual tanks or planes, and then you played on a hex field, and there were copious rules.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, there was a time in my life where I really enjoyed playing games like that.
See, and that's the thing though that a lot of people don't realize is that they're like, well, D&D could take months and months, and but his gaming session lasts a couple hours, and it's not for the faint of heart because the people that designed D&D, first of all, were used to playing board games that took a couple hours to play. Second of all, they're from Wisconsin. Those guys, the only thing they've got to do in the wintertime is drink and play games. And I'm dead serious. Up there, like once winter hits, you take care of your animals and you drink.
Well, here I am today thinking that my meal for supper was way too big because now I feel like I packed on a good amount of winter weight, and oh man.
Oh yeah,
But no, it's true. Up here in the Great White North, I mean, we get the same sort of winters they get in Wisconsin, and frankly, if you're like me, I'm not a big winter person. Like I say, to enjoy winter, I think you have to indulge in some of what would be generally classed as winter sports. Like you
yeah,
need to skate or play hockey, or toboggan, even is, I mean, that's maybe the last great stand for lazy person's winter activity. But, skiing, all of them are very, very athletic, and I can't do it with my back.
yeah.
So even getting outside is is an adventure in learning how to deal with the cold. And while that's a valuable skill, I don't consider it terribly enjoyable.
Now, I went with red to paint her, and we're going to be painting her with the Army Painter method. And what the Army Painter method is you block in all your colors, and then once they're blocked in, you wash it. Okay.
That's not a bad method, though, really.
No, it's not a bad
For
method. And
starters, for sure.
yeah, for beginners, this is a great method to learn how to paint. Now, you'll notice, though, that I am having some issues with pooling right here, and that's mainly the primer that I use. It's that nasty Vallejo primer. I don't like it at all. But I got to use it up before I can buy some more primer. I hate buying something and have to throw it out because I just don't like it. It's designed for um, like the big Gundam models. And the reason why I got it was everybody's like, "Oh, it works great with the paints from the contrast paints from Citadel," because I was going to use them because I had a commission come through, and I was like, "Well, I'll get this. It's supposed to work good with them," and I didn't want to pay $20 just for the rattle can of the primer. It's designed for that stuff. But yeah. So we're going to block the red in first. Then I'm going to go back and probably do the browns and stuff. So you can see where the paint's pulling from her face as well right here. It's partially the primer, but it's mostly also the paints as well. So, and not that the paints are bad paints, they're good entry level hobby paints. It's just that they're one, they've been sitting on the shelf for a while. I did give them a good mix today, but they're I don't know. It's the best way to put it. I don't know. I want to blame the primer. Let's blame the primer today. But it's red too, and red is a horrible color to go on. So,
Why
and
is that now?
well, it's because it's one of those evil colors. It's very translucent. Because as we've talked about in the past, if you want to make a paint more opaque, you have to add white to it generally. Unless you add a lot of pigment. And red is one of those colors that if you add paint white to it, you get pink. So they add a lot more pigment to it, just so they can make it more opaque. Um, I haven't really met a good paint that is has a red that's really well. I mean, I've got one from War Colors in their one coat range, and it's okay, but it's not the greatest thing in the world. So, I'm trying to see if I missed any spots that would be considered red. Let's see here.
So now, what other colors are you going to be blocking in, as you call it?
Well,
You mentioned brown.
we're gonna need brown. I think I'm gonna do. So she's got this outfit here, and it's like plate, but if I go with an Asian look to it, I don't really want to do like silver. And then she's gonna have some leather on her. She's got this gourd, which would be a great for an ochre. Let's see here. I'm gonna put some blue on her breeches. On the breeches, it's gonna get some blue. Now, so you'll notice that this is a very lacking paint set. Okay, and the reason why I say it's lacking was one, we're low on my favorite color in the world, brown. There's literally one brown, and it's a light brown, and I'm just gonna use this. It's a shitty brown. The reason being is their leather brown, no matter how well I mix it, sucks. Takes 2 or 3 coats to get it on there, so it's just.
Oh, they're even calling it leather brown. You'd think it'd be perfect.
Oh, nope. So let's see here. So one of the things I teach my new beginners is that you start from the inside out, which would be going with the flesh, and then it's like going out of a valley. You say you're going to go out of a valley to a mountaintop. So that's what we're going to do. Okay.
It's sort of like thinking in overall layers on the model, in a way.
Yes, sir.
From the skin to the outside of your cloak.
Now, I do like their Ultramarine Blue, and it's mainly because I used to play Ultramarines for Warhammer 40,000, and it is a good color, Ultramarine. But Ultramarine, though, you got to realize it's one of those colors, like when you say, hey, this is Ultramarine, and then the Ultramarine color, because that's an actual color name. So it actually has to fall on that color code for that. They can't be like, this is Ultramarine and it's actually like a navy. So it's easy to match.
Okay, I'm just going to say it for everyone who's thinking it. That's just weird.
Yeah. So
I know totally what you mean, though. I'm a graphic artist friend of mine. When she talks about color, she's always thinking in Pantone colors.
yeah.
And she's always very quick to remind me that whatever color she recommends isn't necessarily going to be the same one that I see on a paint chit at the hardware store.
Right. I really wish, though, like if you are just relabeling your colors, just put like the color, like the whatever color code it is, or just on the bottle somewhere, or actually hide the name of the actual color when you decide to call it Bell Ringers Gold or something like that. I don't know, whatever. I'm just making it up. But like,
yeah, well, that's what you could do. A piece of masking tape with your own name for the color written in, and then put on top of your bottle. That's a very clever idea, and you should slap a patent on that really quickly.
No, that's one of the reasons
so that no one else can use it.
So many paint apps is so I can match colors. Like, I'll tell you this, like, okay, you've got this demonic yellow color, but, it's an okay yellow, but, like, there might be the same color of yellow somewhere else that has better coverage. So I think going with the blue on the pants is going to be kind of cool, because it's going to be just like, boom, here's some pants, and they're blue, and she's red. I'm still trying to figure out, like, what color to do. What color, like, samurai plate mail? That's just usually, I'm just trying to think of something. Is that normally black?
Well, I think that black is used cinematically just because it's a really great foil for pretty much any other bright color.
Yeah.
Think of it in terms of laminated layers of paper or thin wood and that they definitely be painted up, but it would be like in house colors with house emblems and stuff like
Yeah.
that, I would imagine.
So
With your heroic leaders maybe having something that's ramped up there.
now I will show you that where I've mixed the paint up. You can see how thick it is here. It holds its shape, so it's not watery. Now I usually when I use Army Painter, I do use a wet palette, but a lot of people don't have a wet palette, so I'm just doing this today this way. So because I know a lot of new painters don't have those wet palettes or access to a wet palette or anything like that. So
I'm not entirely sure what a wet palette is.
it's a sponge that has a piece of parchment paper on top of it, and the sponge is wet, and that allows us to keep the paint moist and thin it down naturally without adding a lot of water to it.
So what would the sponge be moistened with,
Water,
Daniel?
just water.
Okay, okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
kind of interesting. Never thought of it, but
I
and that just helps keep things fluid and from being gooey more.
it keeps it from
What?
drying out. So see, I've just added too much water here, and I thinned it down too much. Which is fine. We'll fix it here in a minute. So figured I'll do white for her shirt. Trying. So this is a Reaper model, so of course there's not like a lot of. It's kind of hard to see things on here. So, and I didn't look this model up before I painted her. So, and so like you don't have a gold in this set, you don't have a purple, and you know that's one of the colors I told everybody that you really need is a good purple, a dark purple. And I would recommend a gold for everybody. I'm going to try to cheat here in a minute. We're going to see if something works. I'm sorry, Tyler, but I'm literally going to take this plate mail, and I'm trying to keep myself within the range of the starter sets, but I'm going to take this plate mail, and I'm getting a piece of tissue paper or paper towel. I'm going to take and mix a little bit of yellow with this plate mail and see if I can actually produce a type of gold or deep bronze. Stealing ideas from other manufacturers just to see if it works.
Shame.
He's going to get on to me too after this.
Well, you just make the attribution of where you got the clever idea. And next thing you know, it'll become a meme and then a trope, and it'll be the normal way everyone does it.
So I'm going to take a little bit of demonic yellow. See, the last comment he said was, it's all good. Now look, here's the thing, is I mixed this up, but this looks like water. Okay, look at that. Look how thin this is. You'll see it here in a second on your screen. So I'm going to have to mix it up even more. So, first of all, I got to get the ball bearing moving in it. It's like it's stuck in the bottom. Thank goodness for that vortex mixer. Now, it's the one thing I do not like about Army Painter, or one of the one things, is that sorry, it's going to be loud for a second, is that these things sit for a while, all that pigment goes to the bottom. So,
that is really watery, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. So me and my son, my middle child, Andrew, we've been watching a TV show back from the day called Chuck, about a computer nerd that becomes a CIA agent. It's a show I used to watch when it came on air. And, let's see here. It's still watery. Oh my gosh. I'm actually going to pop it open. Anyway, so we got to a part where it just was horrible, and like in the storyline. Not the story was horrible, that it was just a very upsetting moment. And my son goes, "Dad, do I have permission to cuss?" I said yes, just because we were both a little angry over this. And I've never heard this out of my 11-year-old son, but he dropped the F-bomb. I was like, do you normally talk like this at school? No, this is just for this TV show, Dad. See, now look at that goopy paint right there.
Well, you know that he's heard it at school, if
Oh,
nothing
he's
else, right?
probably heard it out of my mouth.
What? No, Daniel. Ah,
Yeah, I'll hit my
my
head.
image of you has just been shattered like a piece of thin glass on
Oh
a
no,
rocky
it
beach.
hasn't. I'll hit my
All
head.
right, no, it hasn't, but
I'll hit my head, and that's the first word that comes out. Like that's the
well,
thing, though.
can't
Like
say I'm not experienced in that.
growing up, I grew up in a very conservative Christian sect of Christianity, which I'm very liberal now, Christian, and so the mom used to be like, she'd hit her foot, she'd be like, "Praise Jesus!" It's like, how do you do that? I was like, I do not know how you can hit your foot and say that, and we know for a fact, science has proven that when you cuss, it helps you endure pain even more.
Oh, I know. It's the funniest thing
Oh
about
look,
life in
now
general, I think,
look at this. Now we've got some yellow out, and it's like it's yellow. So I'm gonna mix it up a little bit with this. Is this an elf brush or just one of my other ones? Yeah, this is my elf.
Yeah, the video's just catching up here. Just
Yeah.
saw you crack the bottle open and mix it up with what looked like a stir wire of some sort, and
No, it was my that's a airbrush needle, an old one. That's what I used to
right.
whenever a bottle's stopped up. Oh, Tyler, I have getting bottles get stopped up, but I think it's from the ball bearings I put in those bottles. So now I'm going to show you something. You see this orange? You probably can't tell because of the light on it. It doesn't look bright orange. It looks more muted, like it has white in it, and that's because it does have white in it. Because it's got the yellow has white in it. Okay, we'll put that silver right there. We're going to test this out. I'm going to see if it works before I put it on the model. So let's put some silver here. Get some of this orange here. Hey, if this works, it works, man. I'm looking for a bronze color.
Yeah, I still haven't quite caught up to where you are, but I'm seeing now when you're not messing with the paint, I can definitely see the bronze color coming out in it.
Hopefully. Alright. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to put it up on this big plate here. If this works, then we'll use this color for the plate mail. And I don't think it will because on Tyler's paints, they're more his silver is more white, like a white silver. We'll find out though. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll do something else. All right. Let me do another coat of white here to fix where I messed up. All right. But yeah, man. I was like, listen, you're my sweet young child, and I never want to hear you say those words again. And I was like, and it's not because you're going to grow up and I'm going to think they're a sin, because my mom thinks that swearing is a sin. It's not, though. But I said, it's just because I never thought I would hear something so horrid out of a child so pure at heart. So,
Did you cry when you were saying that too?
no.
That would have sold it, Daniel, you know.
Oh, I
Would
know.
have.
You don't care.
No, I figured the best thing to do is to model it, right? If you're not dropping the F bomb every third word like a lot of people do, then it's not a big worry because then you are using it in context when you're extremely upset, when you have just barked your shin on the coffee table for the ninth time that evening,
Yeah.
weird things like that.
Yeah, I get it. All right. The white's on there. We're going to let it set.
Otherwise, you tell them that mysterious Dale guy that you play with every Thursday night, yeah, tell him I'll be watching,
well,
be
look at
listening
this.
to hear that.
The tip
I
of
expect
this.
I expect him instead to like read the dictionary when he doesn't understand a word he's read, and learn to build his vocabulary so he doesn't have to drop f bombs.
He's a smart kid. Like he's in 5th grade and he reads at like a high school level. So, which makes his sister mad because when she was in school, she was 5th grade reading at like a 7th grade level, and like when every year they'll post a report where you're reading that and stuff for the kids, and she would come home in 5th grade and be like, I'm reading at a 7th grade level. And then like he'd be in kindergarten and come out and he's like, well, I'm reading at a 2nd grade level in kindergarten because he came out he went into kindergarten knowing how to read because we sent him to a daycare that was taught out of a friend's house, so she only had like 6 kids for pre-K,
Nice.
and so she could spend a lot of time with him. And like when he was actually going for his testing for kindergarten, the teacher was like, "All right, Andrew, can you count to 10?" And he's like, "I can count to 100." And she's like, "No, you can't." He said, and I'm standing out in the hall, and I hear every word of this because I've had to listen to him talk and count to 100 in the car many of the time. So he starts, and when he got to 30, she's like, "Okay, I believe you. You can stop now." So, and
It's funny that it still took her to 30, though.
well, she got mad though. She said we did a bad thing by having Andrew get ahead because he's going to be ahead of the class. Which what it was it was going to make more work on her.
Yeah, and it's also, never miss the opportunity to drum someone over the head with the conform Billy Bat. Conform, conform. Don't be exceptional. Be it, or otherwise you're going to be a nail that's going to be hammered down. So
Well,
let's do it early and conform.
I've got a 11-year-old who's in 5th grade that can play D&D, Castles and Crusades, Mutant Crawl Classics, Dungeon Crawl Classics, and not bat an eye when I switch systems. So,
And he's already a reader, so
yeah.
I mean, the nice thing about that is most people that I know who were readers also went on to continue to learn throughout their life and have been some of the most open-minded people that I've ever met.
Yeah, the only thing I wish he would conform to is taking a bath.
Yeah, he's 11. Give him a break, man.
Yeah, I gotta force him to take a bath.
Yeah, well, use handcuffs if you have to, but he's still just 11, and that ain't going to come naturally until it's beaten into him. Oh, did I say that out loud? I
Oh,
didn't mean
yeah.
that.
Alright, everybody give me a shout out. Who's here tonight? Let me know in chat. It's about time for me to post that wonderful link that everybody loves.
Not counting me, 9 in chat tonight.
Oh.
Good evening, everyone. Remember, if you've got a question about any of the things that Daniel is doing, by all means, type it into chat. And I've always got my eye there, and I'll be sure that he sees that.
Okay, here it is. It's my Patreon. I am not looking to make $1 million. I am not looking to live off my Patreon. My Patreon is just to keep me in supplies, keep me in models, and just for this show, and to help me keep my tools up and make sure I've got paints until I can get me a good sponsor. But yeah, so if you all get interested in helping me out here, I got 3 levels: $4, $5, and $30. The $4 gets you access to the Discord channel, so you can sit here with me and Dale and talk to us while we paint models. $5 will get you access to my any recipes that I come up with early, which I've actually got one I've been working on. Hopefully, I should have it done here shortly. And the $30 gets you all that plus either 1 hour of my time so I can help you in your painting game, or I'll paint a model for you. One model, $30, pretty good deal. I'll actually paint it at the highest standard I can paint it at. So give it a look. Currently, we are saving up to buy a new airbrush. So I'm halfway there.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So I'm gonna give her some black hair, cause she's a demon with red skin. Kind of modeling off her like what the original tieflings would have looked like. So did you ever play 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons?
I never did.
Well,
Um,
in third and
that was when third edition came out. That was when my mainstay gaming group was starting to move out of town. People were moving to other provinces and other cities to get meaningful employment and get on with their lives. And so it took a couple of years to kind of shake down and stable out from that.
well, in third edition in 3.5, they sold the rights to Ravenloft to the people that did the World of Darkness, aka Vampire the Masquerade, Mage the Ascension, and Werewolf the Apocalypse. And so, with the idea that they were going to create Ravenloft stuff for third edition or D20 system, well, they came out with a lot of good source material, and I'll actually go to the third edition source material whenever I'm doing anything Ravenloft related. Okay. Well, so one of those was Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Okay. And it had a lot of like talk about each of the dread realms and stuff like that. I even had my own dread realm where it's Never Never Land, and we think that Hook in our story is the bad guy. Hook is actually the good guy because I don't know how much you know about Ravenloft, but Ravenloft attracts evil, pulls evil to it, and therefore, the more evil you are, the more Ravenloft likes you. If you're evil enough, you'll get your own little realm inside the Dread Realm. So therefore, these little sections of Ravenloft is divided up between, Barovia is Strahd's area, and you have other areas that are connected to it. Well, so Peter Pan is a lich. He is super evil. The Lost Boys are undead. The Indians are actually Vasanti, which are the gypsies from Ravenloft. Okay. And then you've got the mermaids, which they're beasts that will try to kill you. You got the crocodile. Of course, that's a crocodile. But you've got Hook, and Hook is actually the neutral / good person trying to destroy Pan. So that's my world. But anyway, so so fifth edition is re-releasing Van Richten's Guide, and I'm so excited about it. As much as I don't like fifth edition, I'm really excited about this because there's potentially more new source material. So, excited. All right.
Now, you see, for me, the Ravenloft is always and only meant I6, the original Ravenloft
Yeah, and
model by Tracy Hickman et al.
and
Never went for the Ravenloft setting at all. Never just was never drawn that direction.
I love that setting, but I do have I6 original. It is signed by both Hickmans, and it's one of my favorite things in my collection. So
Yeah, and I ran it. I've run it several times for several different groups, and I enjoy it every time because it's really good. Well, here's an interesting thing now. Depending upon the group,
yeah,
I run it as a dead serious horror sort of episode, or it's also got great potential to swing the pendulum the other way and have a good laugh
yeah,
over horror stereotypes and
yep.
tropes and things like that, and have a good time both ways.
It is very good for that.
A lot of people get turned off by the whole village surrounding his castle and stuff. And frankly, I've never used the village because it always seemed a little idiotic to me that, the first night that you're there, your whole party could get wiped out.
Yeah,
Well, that's it for that adventure. What do you want to play
I
now?
don't like the silverish metallic that we made with this. It doesn't work well.
No?
No, not at all. Okay.
Turn that around and give us a good look at it there for a minute. I know you probably already are doing it, and my video hasn't caught up yet.
It's all right, man. Okay. So let's go back over the white one more time. So I'm building up my colors, making sure they're good the first time. And so the thing with this again is just staying in the lines, but I will tell you the wash in the end actually helps it when you're not staying in the lines. So I know it seems like I'm painting it kind of slow today. What? Who is texting me? Sending me all those messages? It's probably Chuck. Because I sent him a
It's
message.
your fan base, man. It's
Listen,
huge, and you
everybody,
keep denying it.
there is a link in the chat window, or in the video window, if you hover over it, and it'll give you 20% off at trollords.com. Somebody else. Let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Man, I wish those guys from Discord would come in here. They don't like me, though. I'm going to hide the chat window, so if anybody asks a question, let me know. It's just so I can make sure I'm in frame while I'm painting here.
Yeah, I got my eye on it.
Alright, so I'm just going to take the easy way out. I'm going to take this leather brown. This is the excitement about using this color, by the way. Look at that. You're going to see how watery this is, and I have mixed this up. Oh, gosh, I hate this color. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I'm going to contact my guy at Army Painter and tell him how much I hate this color. And he'll be like, well, then just try this brown. It's close. Now, I will tell you, Army Painter paints are from Denmark. They are designed to paint armies fairly quickly. When you get into painting army stuff, you do it by the color. And doing commission work with Army Painter paints is like, people were like, how much you charge? And I said, well, I can do 3 colors in a wash for $12 a model. I can do 5 colors in a wash for $25 a model, stuff like that. So, but when these people are painting hundreds of models, they're not going to want to pay, but $10 a model if you're painting them.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, the minimum amount of work is how these paints are designed to be. So, I'm going to come in with this leather. We're just going to say this is a crude leather plating. I don't want to get too fancy with these paints because of the, let's see here, of beginners aren't going to be fancy with them.
Oh, you're mumbling now. I didn't catch that.
I said beginners are not going to be fancy with them. That's why I don't want to get fancy with them.
Okay.
I made pizza for dinner tonight, and it was frozen pizza from Aldi. My wife well, I like vegetable pizzas. My wife's like, this pizza's no good. I'm like, shut up. I think it's a pretty good pizza. It's like, you eat the pepperoni with the kids, then, you heathen. I didn't really say that, but... She felt my death.
No, because I would expect a black eye on camera tonight if you did.
We don't. We joke around a lot. So, when we get to arguing, I actually will walk out of the room when I get frustrated, and like she keeps an eye on how far I walk, because I'll walk out the door and I'll walk down the street, or I'll get in the car and drive off. And it's not that I'm leaving, it's just that I try to, if I'm going to get frustrated, I try to get away before I'll say something I'll regret.
Yeah, no, I got that.
So, reminds me, I don't know.
Hence the old saying, discretion is the better part of valor.
Yeah, and and I've learned this because I've said stuff that I regret, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I try not to do that. Like, I try to be like my wife's step-grandfather. His name was Crate. And no matter how upset my wife's grandmother would get, he'd be like, listen, it's going to be okay. And I'm just like, I got to channel my Crate, because it was his name was Crate. I got to channel my inner Crate. I can't get worked up over stuff. So... that's one thing that I would say that is Christian-y that I do break, is I get worked up over stuff really easy. But no, I've actually gotten a little bit excited about 5th edition just because of that book, and stuff. I mean, and I use source material in other games and things all the time. It's easy for me to convert stuff on the fly. So,
Yeah, in that case, it'd be interesting to see if they've come up with any original material or if they're just rehashing the same stuff
uh,
for the new game system.
they are. They're just going to rehash it. You know they are. They'll probably add a little bit of extra stuff, but almost everything they've done has been a rehash of either first, second, or third edition. I mean, they haven't really come out with anything new ish unless it's stuff that ties Magic the Gathering back into it. I mean, it's about the only thing that they will do new is the tie Magic stuff back in it. But supposedly they came out today and they're getting their own division. Well, Wizards is inside of Hasbro, so they're no longer controlled like by the parent company too much, so they get to be their own entity now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's actually after the whole scare with the Hickmans and them getting sued for 25 million or something like that. So, where Hickman and Weiss sued them.
Yeah.
So, yep, yep, yep.
Well, oh, let's not talk about that. I can get just too political sometimes.
I know.
So, to be honest with you, I kind of like that bronze that you came up with better than this brown.
Oh, hush. This brown is so drab. But it's special. It's a special brown. Don't get me up. Don't get me upset now.
Hey, you're in total control of whether you get upset or not. You know that.
But you know I care about what you say.
Really?
No.
No, I didn't. Ah, you crack me up sometimes, I tell you.
Oh man.
I was just excited when you brought out red and blue, and I went, God, we've got a model where he can actually fiddle around with some bright colors, and now we have it's going to be a big brown blob
no.
again.
It's not going to be a big brown blob. Just give me some time to work on it.
I'm good. There's plenty of time. Got at least an hour to go.
Because you got to think, though, if these are all metal plates or something, they got to be attached to leather somewhere. So.
I am going to do my best to resist pointing out the obvious flaws in that line of logic.
Hush. It's my world. Do with it what I want.
I totally get that, and you'll get a good chuckle when I tell you that it's only about halfway through our time so far tonight that I realized this was a girl you were painting and not a guy.
Really?
It's thick armor. What can I say?
You finally saw the boobs sticking out, didn't you?
For once, she's not, it's a female figurine that's not designed like a Playboy model. It's refreshing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know. Well, I prefer female figurines like that. Not
You mean
designed
the
like...
one that are wearing clothes?
Yes.
I mean, there's a certain attraction to the chainmail bikini, but I can't even for a second consider it practical, really.
Well, being the dad of a girl, I don't really like that. I want her and her friends to enjoy stuff like Dungeons and Dragons because or RPGs in general because they've always brought me joy in my life, and I don't want them to think that Dad only likes this because it objectifies women.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I will say about the new class of people. Now, I will say that there are people out there that don't care, and they will paint their pictures of their characters, even young folks, to look like it's pretty much not wearing anything. So, but yeah, we're building up on this color here. We're going to work on it.
Slaving hard tonight, brother.
Yep.
So the silicone baking mat here now It's looking a little scarred up tonight. It's
Well,
you've
it's
been
because
painting.
I haven't cleaned it lately. Because I've had my desk covered up working on other stuff. I've been trying to. Somebody from the lodge gave me a resin printer that they weren't using anymore, and they're like, "You can have this because I know you do 3D printing." I was like, "Okay." So I've been working on trying to get those models to print right. So I finally got it to where they'll print because they'll finally stick to the build plate. Now I've got to tune in the exposure.
So when you're gonna share some of your 3D stuff with us?
Well, currently my other printer just stopped. It's been going non-stop. I've been printing out what's called a Thunderhawk. In the world of 40K, there's a model of a big ship called a Thunderhawk. And to buy
Okay.
this model from 40K, or from Games Workshop's, their custom shop called Forge World, it costs close to $750 American. Well, there was a guy on one of the websites who have designed a 3D model of said thing, and you pay $20 for the model, and you're good to rock and roll. So you just need a lot of filament.
Quite a disparity in price there, eh?
Yeah, I know. Well, even with the filament, it'll probably work out to be about um, 80 $90. So, I mean, it's a huge model. Don't get me wrong. The thing's freaking huge. But if I can get the resin printer tuned in, I'm going to turn around and paint it in resin. I'm print it in resin for myself. Because I'm printing it for a friend right now. So, okay. So here we go. We've got this big brown glob, as you call it. Alright. Oh, she looks great. Look how beautiful that looks. That brown, how well it goes with her red. That's sarcasm right there, if you hadn't heard it.
I was just gonna say you keep on selling that. I ain't buying yet.
Take some of this white here and this little leather brown. Some more white.
The subtle suntanned skin tones. Yeah.
More white.
Looks like she's been on latrine duty, for crying out loud.
More white. Come on, white. I need brighter than that. Okay. So she's got fangs here. Hopefully I can pick out. They're very tiny. Like, I probably could have even taken in, cut the horns off of her and be like, she's half orc. You know?
Yeah, I suppose you could have, but
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. But I'm gonna get a little messy around these horns because I can touch that black back up. I just don't want this mixture to dry just yet. Here we go. Well, got the new car. It's not new. Got me a Honda Pilot. Like a 2011 model.
Pilot, is that like an SUV?
Yeah.
What were you driving before?
Honda Odyssey minivan.
All right.
Don't get me wrong, I love my minivan, but I needed something that we could haul kids around in. Plus, we're looking at getting a camper one day. So this thing can haul a camper and such. Okay, let's see here. Get a little bit of this yellow again. There we go. Now we're going to get some of this green skin. Let's see how well it mixed up. Oh, it's actually coming out pretty good. So we're going to take and make a yellow-green color for the gourd.
What are you thinking of for that little flap in the front and the back, below the waist?
I don't know. That's going to be gray.
Okay.
Like a wolf pelt.
Oh, okay, okay.
So here's the problem with yellow. You see the red poking through? In the gourd, it's fine because it's a gourd. We can be like, well, that's just a spot on the gourd. And so, these colors on the gourd don't have to be mixed perfectly because, again, this is a gourd. It's going to have streaks in it.
That may be an insult to gourds everywhere, you know that.
Well, guess what? I can only do so much in my life to make plants.
I've yet to meet anyone who identifies as a gourd, so I don't think it's going to be a big problem. I'm just saying.
Ask my brother. He probably identifies as one.
Really?
Yeah, because he's a melon head.
No. Wah, 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 wah. But you mean that in the best possible manner. I know.
Not really.
Because that's a kind of champion fella you are.
I dislike my brother. My brother right under me. My other brothers are alright. It's only because my brother creates so much havoc with our family. Well, I missed a spot. Alright. Let's clean up some of that black around the horns here.
Yeah, I'm an only child, so that whole brother, sister, sibling thing, I mean, I see it in action all around me, but I have no direct experience and therefore no real understanding.
You're okay. Trust me. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to take the leather brown again, get a little bit more out here because I need some fresh leather brown. Alright. Again, I missed this piece of leather right here. It's just now 9 o'clock. I hear children stomping upstairs. You know what tomorrow is?
Friday.
I know! So excited.
No, actually. Yeah, what? Who, what? Do I get a prize? What?
Nope. You get 1,000,000 Shroot bucks.
Well, it's 1,000,000 more than I had before, so that's got to be good, right?
Shroot bucks have
no, what is tomorrow? What is tomorrow? Friday? What's the big deal?
Friday.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just excited that it's Friday.
Well, darn, everyone's correct on this one. That's good.
Is anybody in the chat room chatting?
King Kothar just posted an emoji of someone's chubby face tilted to one side. I don't know what it means.
King Kothar, you've got to tell me what it means right now.
He's a younger fellow than I am, I think, and he's very hip.
So, take a little bit of this black now. I'm going to take an older brush because I'm going to do some mixing here. So I'm going to take this black and mix it with this brown and try to make a dark brown, which just makes it look nasty. Alright, that works. Let me clean this brush out real quick. Take my big fat brush that I just mixed that with. And where we come in here, just very quickly apply this to her stick. Her beaten stick.
Oh, he came and went about as fast.
Oh, he just wanted to say hi. Oh, Kothar, you such a tease. Huh. Okay, we got the beaten stick ready. Alright, now let's see here. We take this brown that we just created.
Oh, now we're getting into some weapon painting.
Okay, we just created this brown. We're going to come in here. And we're going to paint this.
So now here's a question that's sort of been on my mind since the start. Why is this person carrying a gourd around with them?
It's their water gourd. It's where they keep their whiskey.
You read that someplace, didn't you?
No. Figured.
Okay, all right. Water gourd. I was just asking, you know.
I mean, didn't you ever use a water gourd when you were
Never. Canteen, even a wineskin at one point for water, but never a gourd.
See, in Asian culture, right? Which I believe she is an Asian demon, like Oni something or another, and Asian people have a tendency to use gourds instead of water skins. What do you think about that?
Well, you're full of information tonight, sir.
Okay, so we've got our first layer of fur here. Now we're going to take and mix a little bit of this white.
I thought that was going to be gray.
It's going to be a type of gray.
Okay.
Well, it's going to be a brownish. What? Come on, white. Okay, now we're going to start mixing this here like this. Okay. So we're going to come down here. Some streaks here. Because fur is not all one color, so we're trying to add separate colors to it.
Yeah, you make it base color and then you add those beautiful sun-dappled highlights.
Okay. Alright. Let's see here. We need more white. See, people, this is when we need multiple browns in a paint set. Now, you realize these individual paints are $3 and with taxes here, usually about $3.26 or 29 cents per paint. Because they're normally, these are on the lower end of the cost spectrum of hobby paints, which I do enjoy some of their colors. I have almost all their colors. I'm missing probably about 20 colors. So,
out of how many?
Like 100 and something. A few. Right, so I'm gonna have to come back in and fix this red here in a minute. Oh, my computer's like cranking up. It got to 18% there.
Yeah, you kind of lost your audio there for maybe 10 seconds or so. I don't know if anyone else lost it. I always assume it's my crummy internet connection and my Frankenstein computer that's the issue.
Yep, we'll blame it on that.
It's entirely, completely the case.
I'm blaming it on your computer, sir. Alright. Alright, so let's see what we got here.
Oh, well, now you can hear something new since the last time we got together for a chat. I am now mortgage-free.
Oh. Well, that's good. Now you can start spending money.
What's that?
You can start spending money getting these expensive hobbies.
Yeah, well, I've just been trying to think now. I'm only at the $5 Patreon level, so
I mean, if you want to up it, I'm okay with that.
yeah, I might go a one shot and get you to paint me something.
Yeah. You can get that big new dragon that's coming out from WizKids, that big red dragon, and I'll paint it for you. Ugh, I think it's gonna be expensive. I messed up there. Oh, gotta love it when one messes up. That's right there is more gourd. Okay. Let's go back over here. Air dried that so I could come over here and add a little bit of white here. Alright. So we're getting ready to get to the point of the day when my buddy is it's gonna be like, "Oh, Daniel, you're doing such a good job," and you had to go slop a wash all over it. I'm like, yes, I did. Okay, I need brown again. All right, a little bit of this leather brown because I got a strap I missed. Then I'm gonna have to bust out some silver.
Bust it out, man.
Bust the move. Okay. So there's a cord. So here's the thing about only having one brown is
Yes, sir.
you've got a lot of browns that you need, and you've only got one that you can use. Now, here's the cool thing I do like about Army Painter paint. So this has developed a skin. You're going to catch up here in a second, and it's the silver. But I need the silver underneath it, so I just take and push the skin off. I still got paint under there. Oh, here we go. Now, and I'm kind of leaving some spots on here unpainted. And there's going to be a reason for this.
Okay.
And it's to show people what a wash really does.
That's kind of what I thought you were up to.
Especially if you're a new painter. Okay, so we're going to come in here and we're going to hit a few of these areas that would have a little metal on them. Okay. To the top of this thing here with a little bit of metal. Here. I got messy. Part of this is a stupid model, though. I hate these Reaper models, man. Give me metal. Okay.
Can't say it's the best sculpt of anything I've ever seen, that's for sure.
I know. It's I got so many of them. Okay. So we got all these little spikes here. We gotta give them some metallic looking bits. So this is the quickest way to do this. And it's supposed to rain tomorrow for the next week. So are you snowed in?
Not snowed in, but it snowed again today. And it was pretty blowy there for a while, so driving wasn't a real happy experience. But
See, this is normally the time of the year we're getting ready for GaryCon.
Right.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Where's that take place again? Remind me, Danny.
Lake Geneva, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Out there outside of Chicago. Alright. She's got spikes all over her thing. Okay, now we're going to...
Be more definite when you say that. Her thing just doesn't sound right.
I know, that's why I said it that way. Alright, so we need some gray for the brick that she's standing on top of. So we're going to need a little bit of black. I'm going to use a little bit of blue. So let's steal some of this blue that's underneath here. Because we're making a stone colored. It's not enough blue. A little bit of white. Might notice I use a little bit more paint when it comes to Army Painter paints. I think it's because I got used to having so many paints laid around. Like, I got a lot of copies just from the fact where they sent me so much. So, first of all, we mix our gray. It's too black. I used too much black. Okay, so let's add some white. Come on now. There we are. We need a light gray. Alright, this looks better. Touch of blue. In there. Give me a stone color. There we go. Alright, now we're going to do her base.
Now, what's the blue mixed in with that going to do?
Yeah, just because some stones have blue mixed in with them. Like it just gives it a different type of gray. It's just not black and white.
Okay.
Like it's a cool gray is what I was trying to make. Something fairly neutral. Okay. So we're doing the base now. So I'm gonna have to pop her out here for just a second. Come on. Me. Use some of my sticky stuff.
You're making good time. We have 48 minutes to go.
Switching hand pieces here. Yeah, but we still gotta dry. That's the key. So we gotta dry the model. Okay. Alright. Alright, here we go. Alright, now, one final touch up. I'm going to take some of this yellow here. Okay, a little bit of green. A little bit of white. Just a touch of brown. A bit more white. Okay, now, that's where I gotta be fast. Get rid of this hair though. doing the stitching on her armor. Here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm sorry. I'm totally absorbed in watching what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the trick with this thing is it's like there's no audience here. It's just I feel like we're one-on-one and I'm totally zoomed in on it.
Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm doing the stitching, okay? But so I also have a light color here, okay? Which means I get to do some really cool effects. So if you didn't notice here, I did some marks right there to make it look like her leather is beaten up a little bit.
Yeah.
Then we're going to come in here and I'm going to do the same here. Well, make sure it doesn't dry out. So we're going to add a little bit of texture to the armor. Then I'm going to come in with your plain silver. Hit the big plate areas that I think would be metal. Anybody in the chat room?
Pretty quiet tonight.
Yeah. 'Cause we're not
Everyone else is dialed right into what you're doing as well.
It's because we're not giving anything away. Alright. Let's say that's her metal right there. Okay, now let's dry her off. We gotta dry this thing. This will take a second. So everybody talks about
Getting that hair dryer out.
Yeah, with the hair dryer. The key with using washes is that you really want to have the paint underneath as dry as possible. The reason for this
makes sense.
is because the paint actually stains less when it's like that. So now I've used a little bit of heat, but now I'm switching to cool air. Okay, and I'm painting this like a new painter would paint it. And being a bit sloppy with it on purpose. Okay. So, some spots I need to fix here real quick before we do anything else. Need my red. Man, this red's actually doing pretty good for this time around. Alright. Let's go ahead and... I messed her hand up earlier. Come in and fix that up some. Okay.
You better not be painting something off camera.
No, I'm not. Okay. Alright. Now, here's the fun part. We're going to take Army Painter Strong Tone. It's the only wash they give you. I would love if they included a flesh wash. But guess what? They don't. Anyway. Am I going to cry over it? Not tonight. Use one of my little fancy lids I got here that come off my protein shakes. I am going to use a brush designed for washes.
Now, what makes it a brush designed for washes as opposed to any other brush?
It is not a natural hair brush. It is a brush of non-natural hair.
Synthetic hair.
Yeah. That's what I said. Okay, I'm going to wet the brush first. Alright.
Because it's got to be washed. Put on a wash.
Alright, you ready to mess this model up?
Well, I'm not your buddy from Tasmania or whatever, so I wouldn't know. You tell me. Are you going to mess it up, Daniel? Are you?
I
Are
don't
you?
know. We're gonna find out.
I don't think you are. I think it's going to be just fine.
You sure about that?
I am positive. I am absolutely sure. Because I have many artist friends, and none of them are ever satisfied with what they do. To the rest of us, know nothings. They do gorgeous, magnificent, beautiful work of which they are never satisfied.
Mm,
You know, Daniel,
yeah.
doing fine until you went and ruined it by putting a wash all over
I know.
it. It's just, the kind of encouragement that I know that he would want to know that you had. Now, already that's looking 100% better. It's no longer like the big brown blob.
Oh, so a wash makes it better, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I have no problem with washes. Big brown blobs, on the other hand, because you see, just with that slight application of the wash on the front of her armor, all kinds of detail is starting to pop and jump out now that I didn't even see was there. I mean, I knew there was some stuff there, but it's far more detailed than what I could see on camera.
Okay. Okay, now what we're doing now is we're keeping it from pooling.
I'm sorry, you're keeping it from what?
Pulling up, pulling.
Right,
Poolig. So we're
gotcha.
moving the washes around, applying washes where they need to go, moving washes from areas that they don't need to be in anymore. Okay.
Does that make you wishy-washy?
Ha 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 ha
I swear, I have to go on the road,
ha
man.
ha.
I'd make a billion.
Shroot bucks.
I'm the new Jerry Seinfeld.
Okay. So sometimes I turn them upside down. Okay. Now here's the bad part is you can't really blow dry it while it's a wash. You know how they say in the end it all comes out in the wash?
We need a two-man comedy act. Let's go on the road, Daniel.
Alright. So now we're gonna let it sit. Let's let it sit for a minute. I'm not gonna move
Got
anything
any
else.
other cool models hanging around the bench there that we haven't seen?
No, not really. I've just been putting together some 40k stuff. That's pretty much it. I started this guy. I didn't finish him. I'm only painting him with the paints from Imperial. It's my snake dragon.
I'm sorry, Snake Dragon. What?
Yeah, that's why I call it a snake dragon. I've been using the airbrush with it. It's got a base coat on it. Do you not see it on screen?
See what on? I'm not even sure what you're talking about at this particular
Are
second.
you not looking at the screen?
I'm looking at the screen and I see a palette with nothing going on and the back side of your head. So you're moving. Oh, look, there's a purple thing.
That's my snake dragon.
Ah, okay.
Hey, it's Barry
Oh, so it's like
Kirmingham.
it's like an Eastern
Hey,
Hemisphere.
hey, Barry Kirmingham. How you doing today? Sorry, I just now saw you on there because I switched over to chat view. We're letting the wash dry again for you people that normally are not here. We are testing out starter paint sets, see how well they perform, and which one's the best bang for your buck. So today we've done craft paint, we've done Imperial hobby paints, we've done this is our army painter. Next week we're doing Reaper. We're gonna have a Reaper paint giveaway as well, and I'm still waiting to hear back from Citadel, which I don't think they're going to respond. So I'll have to use my own Citadel paints for that, which I really don't like using Citadel paints for starter paint sets. So
Daniel, do you have any way to boost your mic a little? I noticed you were low, and I've been able to compensate, but Barry says that you're very
no,
faint on the mic
I
tonight.
know that's why I started talking really loud. Does it sound a little bit better? Hey there, pretty mama. How you doing tonight?
Well, no one says it still sucks, so you're
I
moving in the
know.
right direction, I
Yeah,
guess.
Barry. How do I sound now? Huh? 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 All right. This is gonna take a minute to dry. That's why we lean the hairdryer all the way back over here and had the model all the way over here and just point it in the general direction of the model.
Just to increase the air circulation, sir.
Yeah. Oh, it feels good. Oh, sorry.
Stop it.
Remember, guys, I have a Patreon. $5 gets you in here with some early recipes. $30, I paint a model for you. Again, this is just to keep me in paint and supplies.
Maybe I need to stop my Patreon contribution so I'm no longer allowed on mic with you, and therefore people won't be scared to get on
But
at the
then,
$5 level and chat with you.
but then, who's gonna chat with me?
Well, this is the thing. Someone else will step in and probably
Yeah.
become a better Ed McMahon to your Johnny Carson.
No, I enjoy talking to you, Dale.
I enjoy talking to me too, but sometimes I can be a real pain in the neck.
Oh, I see how it is. Okay, so let's look at what we got here. We can see that. Sorry if it's kind of blurry on camera. My camera, it's a bit.
No, you're off camera and you're waving it around a lot. You need to go
No,
just a
it's now.
little slower so we can look at the pretty.
See if we can get it to focus. So we've got better definition now because of the wash. Okay, there's still some wetness from the wash. You can see, you can start to see the nicks in the armor down here, like in the leg armor, and then stuff that was in the other bits of the armor. The white, where I've used the white is the strapping here on the Warhammer is turned a little bit of a brown, but you can see where it's wrapped. You can see it's better back here in the back. You can see where the wash has gotten into the lines a little bit. Now, this is where a lot of people would stop at. I mean, we've got a run down here, her leg. A lot of people are like, all right, well, it's good enough for tabletop standard. Listen, folks.
That's right.
I'm not going to satisfy myself with tabletop standard. So I'm going to dry her off some best I can without ruining the wash. Alright, we got 30 minutes left. Alright.
Plenty of time to ruin your job so far.
Yeah. So, first thing we're going to do, get out some white. Okay. Come on, white. Listen, guys, I don't have the chat window up right now, so let me move it around.
So this figure that you're painting tonight, that's a Reaper miniature, correct?
Yes.
One of the Reaper Bones collection?
Yes.
Right. The little purple Eastern dragon that you showed us earlier, where's that one from?
Reaper bones.
Oh, so they're both Reapers.
Yeah. We'll come in here and hit the... Bring some white back up to the upper edges. Just kind of leave some dark areas here. Okay, we'll come in here on the straps on the side. And the reason why I did the straps in white is because I've already used enough brown for the night. Okay. Come in here with the white. Clean that up a little bit here. Okay. Now, let's get out some red. Okay. Now we tone the red down a little bit with the wash. So what I'm going to do now is come in here in the areas that would really be getting some sunlight is hit her face on those areas that stick out. Same way with her hands. Okay, the areas that would be getting the sun mainly. Okay, now I am going to come down here and fix some of this. So, with this long dastardly line of wash pulled up, I'm going to come in and fix it up a little bit. But we're also going to come back here in the back of her calves and highlight the back of her calves a little bit better with red, a little bit on her heel, the side of her calf. So this stuff will dry a little bit more translucent, so it'll still dry a little bit darker, but it'll at least be covering up that long line of wash that just went down her leg like she peed herself. Now we're going to hit the tops of her feet.
It is a little suspect looking, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're going to come in and hit her feet. Okay. Okay. Alright. Now, yellow. This is going to be fine right here. So, we'll take a little bit of the yellow.
Speak up, young fella.
We're going to take some of the yellow. And we're going to go onto the top of the gourd area, the big area.
Top of the gourd to you, sir.
And we're going to brighten the top up a little bit. Okay. Then let that dry and we'll hit it again. Okay, now the leather. Oh, leather. Leather, leather, leather. This leather brown. Now, we do want it kind of watery. Okay.
Okay. Why do we want it watery?
Not too watery, though. Because we're trying to brighten up certain areas. But I lost my brush control because it had too much water on it. So let's give her a little boobs highlights. Because it's going to be highlighted in certain areas. I know that seems bad, but that's just the way her body's shaped. Okay. Now I'm not going to highlight all the leather. Just certain spots. Certain spots that would be getting a little bit of action. You know what I mean? As far as like getting hit by a sword or another club or just wearing because it hits a rock.
It's just the marks of wear and tear, right? If you look at someone who's got an old style or like, a really old leather motorcycle jacket, it's no longer always completely shiny and consistent in darkness of color across the leather. It's got chafe marks and the ridges and the seams that stick up a little more, show a little more wear.
Yeah, that's right, Fonzie.
Easy now, Balthazar.
And what we're doing is we're just turning this up just a little bit here. Make it look a little bit better than what it was. Trying to clean up some of the mess. Come back in with some of this red again. I expect she's going to have a little dirt on her anyway. She likes to play outside. And let's get some of this yellow.
Well, she's not going to stay clean swinging that big thumping baseball bat of a weapon around, is she?
No.
You're bound to bruise someone or break a bit of skin now and again.
Now, here's the cool part. Right. Take a little bit of white. A little bit of white. Just a little bit. Right there, come on. Come on. I don't need a lot. Come on, white. There we are. Got a little bit of white. Gonna get a little bit of blue. 'Cause, baby, I love you. Okay.
Wow.
I know.
News of your singing's got out, and the number of people in chat have not changed at all.
Yeah. There we are. There we are. All right. There you go. Okay. Now we're coming here. Highlight our britches.
What kind of music do you like to listen to, Daniel?
Depends on where I'm at and what I'm driving. If I'm working, I like to listen to stuff that don't have words to it because my ADHD will kick in if it's got words and I'll start singing along. If I'm driving in the car, it can be anything from metal to gangster rap. I do listen to a lot of audiobooks. This story is brought to you by Audible. I'm just kidding. Audible, if you want to sponsor me, I will talk about audiobooks all day long. But no, I use an app called Libby, and it's part of our thing for our public library.
Right.
And so, like, we can check out ebooks and audiobooks and stuff. So I've actually kind of made it. I was going to try to start reading a little bit, diversify my fantasy a little bit. So there we are. So I highlighted her britches a little bit to make it stick out some.
That's
so
really good.
I wanted to branch out my fantasy a little bit. So this is her. She's pretty much done now. So actually, let's take a little bit of this white beforehand. I read a lot of fantasy written by white guys, and they're set in areas of usually a English type setting with castles and things like that.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything. If that's your floats your goat, then do it. But I wanted to branch out a little bit because I like getting story ideas from different things and stuff. And so I decided I was going to this year read probably a couple books written by authors of different ethnical backgrounds. But it has to be, it has to fall into fantasy or science fiction. That's why I read. Okay. So I decided, let her dry for a second and we'll give her one last look on screen. That I decided that we're going to, I was going to look up some books. So I found some books. I really like alternate history, especially when it's kind of got like a Weird West type thing. So
Right.
like zombies or stuff like that. So I really like those Pride, Prejudice, and Zombie book, and there was another one that that same author wrote, and it was really good a long time ago. Well, this one is written by a lady named Justine Ireland, and it's called Dread Nation, and I just finished it yesterday, and I started the sequel to it called something Divided. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, so it takes place right after the Civil War, and it's from the viewpoint of a girl who is mixed, half black and half white. And then, um, so during the Battle of Gettysburg, the dead actually rose and turned into zombies and started attacking. So the North and South said, "Okay, we're going to quit fighting each other and we're going to fight these zombies." So they ended the war, quote unquote, ended the war, and dealing with the undead. They still did the 13th Amendment, released all the slaves, but instead of, like in America, we have the 13th Amendment, which pretty much says that if you get arrested, then and go to jail or prison, then they can use you for labor, which pretty much at the time when it was originally written, a lot of black people historically were getting arrested and being sold back to farms, pretty much. Um, so but in this storyline, instead of that happening, is that if you get bit, doesn't matter what color you are, if you get bit by a zombie, you lose your freedom. Okay, so they started making up these rumors that African Americans are more, have more of an immunity to zombie bite than anybody else. So like they might not turn if they get bit, but under the letter of the law, if they get bit, they become a zombie. So they started making up rumors that, oh, this guy got bit when he really didn't get bit. But they weren't going to check him, so he automatically got put back into slavitude, so, and stuff like that. So like, and they'd do that, and then like they made a vaccine, but only black people could have it, because if they got bit and they didn't turn, they still became slaves. And essentially, what they were saying is it's better for a white person, and I'm not trying to be like all like political about it, but in her storyline, it kind of gave you the idea that they thought it was better to be a dead zombie white person than to be a black slave. So, and so children, when they hit the age of 12, if they were of color, they are actually sent off to school to learn how to fight the zombies to protect white people. They got paid though. They got paid like $2 a week in the book, but like it's a good book. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of giving it a social justice spin to it, but it's actually a really good book. And but like they learn how to fight. Like, and the key was they all learn how to fight, how to take zombies' heads off. Like the main character preferred having sickles, if you know what a sickle is. So she would fight with two sickles, and she'd have a flourish style of fighting, and she'd swing it around and flop heads off. But then, like, the other character liked fighting with two short swords, so therefore her was more controlled, and it wasn't a lot of flourish. It was all about precise hits and stuff.
Right.
So it was really good. So I'm reading the second one, and there's another one that I'm getting ready to start. I can't remember the name of it after I finish this audiobook, and it's about and I do believe listening to audiobooks is the same as reading, by the way. Because it hits the same area of your brain. But the next one I'm listening to is going to be like it takes place in the desert, like in Middle East, but it's a fantasy setting. So anyway, all right. So here we go. That's what she looks like. What do you think? I'm going to give it a second to catch up.
I'm waiting for you. You know how it goes. Yeah, we're waiting for the video to catch up. Oh, and as soon as she gets on, and then it's got to reload. Hang on. My crummy internet again. Oh, well, this is just ridiculous. Let me just reload this. Horrible, horrible Twitch. It doesn't like me at all.
No, not at all. So my ideas on this: if you're getting into the hobby and you can afford more than craft paint, I would suggest getting Army Painter paints. Okay, but with some modifications to.
Oh, she looks good.
So I would add some additional colors. So let's go over the colors. You got matte black. You've got matte white. Those are. Let me zoom out. If it'll let me. Come on. You not gonna let me zoom out? No, it's not letting me zoom out. So you got your two whites. You got matte white, black, matte white. You've got a red. Where you go? Got a pure red. Okay. You've got the demonic yellow. You've got the leather brown right here. Try not to get those in the paint pile. Green skin, barbarian flesh, and strong tone and plate mail metal. Okay. So this is what I would add. If all you could get is Army Painter paints, I would get this set. I would add a flesh tone, okay, which is one of these washes. I'd add a flesh tone. I would add some more browns, okay. I would if you're painting fantasy, I would add oak brown and possibly dirt splatter and hemp rope. Hemp is very important. Okay, so a lot of lashing, a lot of highlighting can be done with hemp. It's got a tinge of green in it. It's a light brown with a tinge of green. I would get skeleton bone. And as far as metallics would go, I would get possibly their bright gold and their bronze. And an orange. They have an orange called Fire Lizard. It's pretty cool orange. They've got a large array of reds and stuff. They got some purples too. They got one called I'm trying to look over there. Orc Blood. That's a really good purple. They've got an alien purple. The alien purple is more probably what I'd end up going with though. But the Orc Blood's a pretty good one too. But I would get those colors. That's what I would add to the set. They do have a line of primers that are actually they match the paints. So like if you were painting Ultramarine Space Marines, you can get a primer that's Ultramarine Blue and you just spray. Again, it's about speed. So you spray paint the Ultramarine color on your Space Marines in the model paint, right? And I used to do that, but not with that. I would actually get Krylon Ultramarine spray paint, matte spray paint. And then all you do is go in and fill in your gold bits and your silver bits and your black bits, and then let that dry and wash it. You're done. And so like you can, if you're going to use rattle can primer, depending on the models, if you're painting Reaper models, I'd get the cheapest crap you can get. Walmart, 97-cent flat black. If you go with Krylon or anything expensive, they won't dry on the models. The paint just won't dry. Now I'll use the Krylon stuff for Citadel things, which is fine. But yeah, they've got a larger range of tones and washes. They've got a blue tone, red tone, purple tone, green tone. They have what's called a light tone, which is a light version of the strong tone. It's not as harsh. They've got a dark tone, which is black. That's what you'd want to do your metals with, like silver and stuff. But I prefer not to, and I'll explain why in a minute. They've got a military shader, which has some green in it. And then okay, if you're gonna wash gold, right? I don't wash gold with strong tone. I don't wash it with dark tone, which is what a lot of people would do. I use flesh tone because gold is a warm color, and I'd wash it with that flesh tone, and then when that dries, I dry brush it with silver. I would add one more silver to this, and that would be the shining silver. It's a really bright silver. So, but yeah, those few colors, especially if you're painting fantasy stuff, will take you a long way. So the basic kit, I think, is probably $25 to $29, plus about another $10 in paint, and then a brush. It comes with some synthetic brush that fall apart fairly easy. I would recommend a number 1 size brush. This Regiment brush of theirs is about $10. And then they do have a dry brush, which again I tell you, for your dry brushes, go to Walmart, buy these elf eye brushes. They're $2 a piece. They're a lot cheaper than the brushes that you get at the hobby shop, and they are just as good, if not better. And then a wash brush. A wash brush can be just any fat. This is a Citadel shade brush, which is what this is designed for. I only have these because somebody sent me a bunch of Citadel paint. I had 2 of these with them, so that's what I use. But you can also use these cheap acrylics, over-the-counter brushes over from Walmart. You can get a bag of for like $5. These brushes here will hold, and this is the reason why. So, and I was explaining this. I didn't get a chance to explain this. So this is a natural hairbrush. This Army Painter brush is, okay, which means it will wick moisture away. Which what that does is it allows the pigment. You get more pigment to be put down on your with your paint because it pulls the water away from the pigment. Okay, now with a synthetic brush, it doesn't do that. The hairs actually do not absorb the water. So I mean, now they'll go up the shaft of the brush because of capillary action, but they don't absorb the water. So so you can move your washes around a lot better and a lot quicker that way. So, but yeah, I'd add extra $10 to it and have a really good set. So if I had to start all over again and and I had a $50 budget, I would probably end up buying. Well, and here's the thing, though. They've got a Dnd Starter Set now, too, that's designed just for D&D. It's for their D&D.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the WizKid range. But the problem is these big bottles here are 18 milliliters, and the WizKid bottles are only 12. Or the WizKid, but the D&D sets are only 12 milliliter bottles. So you're just really buying it.
Why do you suppose that is?
One, it's because they're a starter set and they're pushing a line for hey, get into this, and then we got you hooked with these little paints because these are just as expensive as our 18 milliliter ones, and all these colors are the same colors, but they have different names because they sound like D&D names. There are even more D&D names than this, like Orc Blood and Demonic Yellow. So it's just the same colors.
Hard to imagine.
Yeah, it's just nuts, man. But yeah, I would go with these. Definitely go with these if that's all it's in your area. If you're starting out, if you want to try a different type of paint, spend about $1 more a bottle. It's something we're not going to talk about here. I possibly could. I have the set. Vallejo makes a starter set of model colors that are designed. They're called medieval. I think it's called a medieval starter set.
Right.
And it's a really good starter set for medieval stuff. You get purples and blues and vermilions and things like that. And I think there's a flesh tone in there, a basic flesh tone. Now, if I had the choice with flesh tones, I probably would stick to. I've got almost every Vallejo model color flesh tone they make, except for the darker ones. And I would probably stick with those because I can use triads and stuff with that. So, but yeah, that's it for tonight, guys. Thanks for joining me. Again, if you want to support us to make us to get where we can buy more supplies and wonderful stuff and things like that, you can join my Patreon. There's different levels for it there. I'm currently saving up for an airbrush, and if you go to my Patreon, you can actually see the airbrush I'm saving up for. It's on an Amazon wish list, so I'm not hinting or nothing like that to anybody buying me one. So I'm just showing you what I'm saving up for. So, but yeah, have a good night, everybody, and I hope to see you next week. Oh, and next week, remember, we are giving away a Reaper starter paint set. Really, Daniel? Oh my gosh. Oh. All right. Y'all have a great night. See you next week. Bye.